This is what 1001 nights in a Saudi jail have done to rights activist Lajin al-Hathlul. She campaigned for women to be able to drive, was arrested May 2018, finally released Wednesday, despite refusing to back down from her claims of torture, which the government denies. President Joe Biden pleased.
She was a powerful advocate for women's rights, and releasing her was the right thing to do.
During a court appearance late last year, her family was shocked at her condition.
My parents saw that she was very weak, that her body was shaking, and that her voice as well. But even with that, she was still very focused and wanted to read her whole defense. Her and other activists were being electrocuted, waterboarded, flogged, beaten, deprived of sleep, force-fed.
Now taking to Twitter, her family demanding all charges against her are dropped and her torturers held to account. The US State Department pushed for her release.
I wouldn't want to attach motives to the conduct of any other government. What I can say is what I said previously. The release in this case would be a very positive development, something we would welcome. It is something we have pressed for.
We are ending all American support for offensive operations in the war in Yemen.
Indeed, since President Joe Biden took over from his predecessor, Saudi is seeing a sea change in attitude.
Upholding universal rights, respecting the rule of law, and treating every person with dignity.
Human rights a cornerstone of his administration. Late last year, Saudi government officials were convinced of Lajin's guilt.
I believe the charges have to do with trying to recruit people in sensitive position in the government in order to obtain sensitive documents and give them to hostile powers.
Back then, the country's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs said Saudi wouldn't bow to international pressure to release Lajin.
We're not subject to pressure. We don't allow people to put pressure on us in order to do things that are against our interests.
It's not clear if minds are changed now, but in the past week, several other high-profile detainees have received sudden leniency. Last Thursday, two Saudi-American activists, Dr. Badr al-Ibrahim and Saleh al-Haidar, detained for 673 days, were released on bail pending court appearances. On Sunday, Ali al-Nimr, a teenager when he was arrested for taking part in an anti-government protest in 2012, had his death sentence commuted to 10 years, release likely later this year. And Monday, the country's powerful Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, announced draft reforms, in part to improve human rights, a government statement said. France's President Emmanuel Macron welcomed Lajin's release. The UN's top human rights defender called on Saudi to release all others imprisoned for their human rights work. Nick Robertson, CNN, London.